This is tutorial 5-7 on page 193, and we need to go to the FactFinder2 census.gov, and that's all I typed in, but if you do, it redirects us to this page here. So this is what you should end up with, and we want to click on the advanced search button right here, and in the left navigation bar, advanced search right here. And in the left navigation bar, click Geographies. And for the name tab, we want Cook County. And there's a bunch of them, but we want the one in Illinois. And click on Go. And that takes us to the top of page 194. In the Select Geographies panel, which is this whole big gray box here, click Census Tract from the Geography Filter options. And the Geography Filter options are here, and we want Census Tract. And in the Geography Results panel over here, we want all census tracts within Cook County, Illinois, which is the first option here, and we want to add that to the things that we're going to be downloading. And close the Select Geographies window. That's this window right here. Here's the close button. And in the search results window here, right here, we need to navigate. Now you're going to get more than this. I've already typed in, you get a huge number of options here, and so what you need to do is type in QT to limit it, and if you do, I'm going to click on Go here, and it should just come back with the same 6 that I've already got. So that's how you can limit it. And the file that we want is we want the 2010 stuff, so that eliminates these 3 down here, and we want the SF1 100%, which is this file right here. So click on that, and then click on the View button, and it'll show us what we're downloading. And we're downloading some information about sex distribution and age distribution in Cook County. And now we want to click on the Download button. And we want data and annotations in separate files. Click on OK. And when it gets done building the file, we can click on Download. And it will download the file, and it does it very quickly, and again it automatically opens zip files for me. And we should see these files here. They should match the names at the bottom of page 195. And we can go ahead and extract them. And we want to put them in the Chapter 5 folder. So let's go back to our C drive and go to SRepress and My Exercises, Chapter 5. Click on OK. And click on Extract. And I've already done that, so I'm going to do this again and just tell it to copy and replace. You should not get that when yours comes up unless you're doing it for the second time as well. And now we're on the top of page 196. We want to open up Microsoft Excel. So we'll open up a brand new empty spreadsheet here, and we want to go to File. I'm using Excel 2013 here, and we want to go to the computer, and we want to go to wrong one. Let's cancel that. Computer. And come on. Okay. And now let's browse on my computer. Actually, there's a file folder right there. I could have gotten that. And we want to go to the C drive. We want to go to SRepress. We want to go here. We want to go to my exercises. We want to go to chapter 5. And in chapter 5, there should be, okay, and yours will probably say all Excel files. What you need to do is change it to all files. And then you can quickly find your file types if you click on the type here, and it'll sort it by type, and it puts all the CSV files here, and that's what we're looking for. CSV is a comma separated value file, and we want the one that does not have anything after the QTP1, so we want that one, and we want to open it up. And this is a big file. And I'm going to select everything here, and I'm going to double click to make all the columns as wide as they need to be. And just to show you how much stuff is in here, I'm going to press the end key once and then hit the right arrow key, and it takes me all the way to column KD, which is a bunch of columns. And if I hit home, it'll take me back to the beginning here. So that's what my file looks like. And then I want to delete column C. And if you look closely here, this is just a more readable version of what's over here. If you take out the 17031 and you're left with a 6-digit number, it is 10201, and I'm sorry, 102-01 and 103, 105-01, 105.02, 105.03, and so on. So this is just a more readable version of what's over there, and we don't really care about that because the computer can read it in any format. And what we want to do is we want to delete this column, and then we want to delete everything from columns F through K. Now, that's a lot of scrolling, so I'm going to hold the Shift key down, press the End key once, and then hit right arrow, and that'll take me to the last column of data. And then I'm going to hit the Delete key, and it's all gone. And what we want to do is we want to rename our columns. We're going to call them ID, and it's not case sensitive, ID2, so I'm going to use caps for the ID. And then both sexes and male and female. And click the column B selector for that column. Now, let's make all of our columns a little bit wider here, okay? And you'll see these columns all hold numbers because they're right aligned. This is text, so because it's left aligned. And what we want to do here is we want to make these text so that they'll match up with some other data in another file. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the entire column. Then we're going to do a Control H. They don't tell you that in the book, but Control H is the keyboard. Whoops. Control H is the keyboard shortcut for find and replace. And what we're looking for is 17031. And we want to replace it with an apostrophe in front of the same thing, which basically turns it into text. And I want to do replace all here, and click on OK, and click on this, and there's 1319, and we're going to get that little green tab there, and let's see what it says. It's a number stored as text. Well, yeah, that's what we wanted to do. So actually, if that stuff annoys you, you can tell it to ignore that error. And apparently I have to check the whole column, select the whole column first. And then, can I get that to come up? Let's try that again. Ignore error. It's only going to do it on this one. Okay, now let's try that. And let's see if I can go back up to the top here. And now when I've got that selected, now if I do ignore error, then it gets rid of all of them for me. So now it just looks a little bit nicer. And now we're at the top of page 197. We just did number 5. And we want to rename the sheet to something a little more readable. And we call this Tracks Pop 2010. And hit enter. And we want to save the file. In my exercises, chapter 5, and we want to call it, we're going to notice the file extension is XLSX, which means we want to save it as an Excel workbook, and we want to call it, I've already put one out there, so we're just replacing the one that's there. You'll have to type in the name and click on save, and click on, you won't get that. And then we can close Excel. I'm just going to leave it open and flip back over to ArcMap. Okay, now we're going to import some files into an empty map document. I've got an empty map document here. And we're going to save this as tutorial 5.7. Again, I've done this before, so this is the second time. And yes, I want to replace it. You shouldn't have that happen. And in catalog, so you can go to Windows and choose catalog, or if you've already got it open over here, just click on the catalog tab. And we want to go to My Exercises, JST1, My Exercises, Chapter 5, and then Chapter 5.gdb. And we're going to import some feature classes. Okay, feature classes are basically layers. And we want area water. So it's area water, county sub, and tract, and add those. And the place I want to output them to is My Exercises Chapter 5 and the Chapter 5 geodatabase. Click on OK, and it says wait for the shape files. If you look down here in the lower right hand corner, you'll see some information. And when it gets done, this little blue stuff down here will go away, and it will redraw everything over here for us. And now you see what we have is we've got area water, county sub, and these are shape files, SHP, and tract 10. We don't need this linear water one. I'm going to delete that. And yes, and so you should have these three files out here, just like I do. And then we need to import. Go to chapter 5.gdb again, and you know what? I think I put those in the wrong place. Let's make this a little bit wider. And I think I wanted. Well, we'll see. No, I think those are the right things there. Looks like I've got two copies. So I've got area water, county sub. I don't need these second versions here. I'm going to right click and delete. And I'm going to right click and delete. And this is what happens if you go through the whole thing twice. And I'm going to get rid of linear water here and delete that. And okay, now this is these are the things that I think you should have out there. And now we're going to import. We want to right click on chapter 5.gdb, and we want to import a table this time, and it's going to be that spreadsheet information. So we need to go find spreadsheet, and you know what, I've still got it open over here, so it might give me some grief about that, so I'm going to close that. And that's the wrong one. Okay, I got it closed. We'll cancel this for a second. We'll go reopen it and see if that, okay, that little tilde character in the front is no longer there. That's the indication that it's open for reading. And so we want this. Click on add, and the one we want is you got to tell it which worksheet you want when you're importing from Excel, because you've got multiple sheets. Now this should match exactly what you've got at the top of the table box on page 198, and that's the worksheet. The output location should be chapter 5.gdb. It's in My Exercises Chapter 5 folder, and the output table is going to be tracks pop 2010, and I might get an error here because I have already save that. I'm going to click on OK, and we'll see what happens. And I did not get an error. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add some features, which is basically adding layers. So we want the tract, the county sub, and the area water ones to be added. So let's go here and click on Add. And we want to go to our Chapter 5 geodatabase. We want area water, county subdivisions, and tracts. And click on Add. And so that's what we get. And we want to rename the whole thing. I'm going to go over here to our layer view. This view right here will show you any data tables you've got as well as the 3 layers. Now if I go over here, it just shows you the layers. And we want to rename this, and just click once and click twice, and we're going to call this Cook County, Illinois. And then we're going to rename this Lakes and Rivers. And we're going to rename this County Subdivisions. I always want to right click on it, but this is the fast way to do it. Just click once. And this time click once, click twice, and rename it Tracks 2010, and hit enter. And we want the county subdivisions as hollow with a thick line. We'll just call that 2. They don't specify. And move that layer to the top. And so let's move it up there. And then we want our lakes to be blue instead of purple. So let's go here, and there's a lake color right there. And it says we want no outline. So for the outline color, choose no color. Click on OK, and there's our rivers and lakes. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to join. We've got some data over here that has information about each tract, and we have a map of each tract. And if I right click on this and open up its attribute table, and if I look at the GeoID, they all start with 17031. That's Cook County, Illinois. And I'm going to right click here, and let's get these in ascending order so we can look at the data in both tables. And actually, if you notice this GeoID here, it is just the combination of these 3 fields over here, so it's actually kind of redundant. But we start off with 17031, and then we've got 10100, okay? 101 and 00, or 10,100, and there's 1,319 rows. Okay, now if I go here and open that up, and I look at this ID column here, 17031, 10,100, and there's 1,319 rows. And so basically we've got a 1-to-1 match here. So I've got some data here for every single one of these tracks, and I just need to match these 2 together. So let's right click on tracks, and let's choose what we want to do here is we want to do a join and relate. And we want to do a join, and the field that we're going to use is going to be the GeoID. That's that column we were looking at. We're going to map it or join it up with this table over here, and the field in this table was ID2. Notice by default it did not pick the right one, and we'll just do a little validate here, and got lots of green check marks, and click on close and click on OK. And it says click on yes, but I'm not seeing a yes come up here. Now number 3, open the Cook County tracks, and actually they call it Cook County tracks on page 199, but they told us on page 198 just to call it tracks 2010, so it should be tracks 2010. And verify that we've got some sex information over there over on the far right side. And so if you go all the way over here, whoops, there is the data that was in our population table over here. So it all got joined correctly. And it says close the table. And under your turn, what you can do is you can create a choropleth map showing the percentage of females by census tract. And copy the tracks 2010 layer with the joints, create a layer showing the percentages of males in Cook County, and save your map document. And I'll let you do that on your own. That's the end of tutorial 5-7.